Hey Leo. Sag season, fellow fire sign, and it's everything. I just made sauce with my mom yesterday, and I feel like you would love that. She's a Leo ascending. Yeah, just homey. Like, so much is going good. You don't really have to worry about too much this season. We're gonna look at the cards, of course, but it's kind of just like relaxed, peaceful vibes for most of you. If you're not feeling that way and there's more to that story, then I would find the time to do the things, or if it's new things that you need to figure out that help you get there, it's really important because that is a part of this new trip you're on. This change in your life. Like, it's when you make changes internally, it's an adventure. And it can get really, really good for you, really stable. Just important as usual. When things are going really well, when things are chill, content, don't force anything. Like, you know that, but you still need to be told that sometimes. And in Sagittarius season, you're gonna wanna probably do more and maybe come out of that space. But if you're starting a family, or if you've started a family, or if you are with someone, or if you're single, all of this applies actually. You're just starting traditions. You're starting to think about, depending on what stage you're at in your life, this could look different, but you're starting to think about like how you want to spend these times, like what we call traditions, what we do, what you decide that you want to do for your life. Because there's plenty that are given to us, but now you're kind of in this place of like, well, what does that look like for me? Like, I want it to feel the way it felt. Like, I want to feel and have my, whoever you're with, whoever you're around, feel like you're together and have like that fun holiday connective vibe. And this season can move really fast. So there's also this part of you that really wants to slow things down, but things are moving fast. And I think that when you can find that time to really cash in on it, don't take that downtime for granted. Excuse me. And be really clear that you need it. Like, it's a part of like, maybe you're just the whole vibe that you're moving forward into, the whole new year that you're moving into, and you know, as we know, and if you don't know, we already entered eclipse season, and that is basically the new year. That's what I consider it, because that's what's going to roll out the year ahead. And it's a really good time. And this is a time where, you know, you can also look around and see the things that you don't have and that you want or you wish you had. And there's no rhyme or reason to get caught up in your head with that, because there's so much that it's so much more like you've been learning more and more. And I'm not just saying this, like, it's not just me repeating myself. It's just that remembrance of what you have in substance and what you have chosen to connect with sense being more, and everyone being more decisive, discerning about how and who you spend your time with, and who you call family, and what makes sense to you, and what you gain from being around certain people in your life. There's certain things that we all have to let go of this month. And I think it's about knowing that where you're at is exactly what you need to focus on. Sagittarius season is going to make you think about things far and wide, as well as right in front of you. And there's this mutual acceptance that you're coming into more and more. And it's because the more that you do that, the more you notice, even externally, how much more energy you have, how much more alive that you are, because Leo, you're gonna do the steps are being, regardless of where you are, the steps are being taken. If you have dreams, write them down. Like, if there's things that you really want to do for you, make sure you make time and space to carve out just writing about it or thinking about it or dreaming about it. This is the month to do that, and to do that really internally, because if you don't, it may come out in a verbal way that people around you maybe aren't used to, especially if you have Virgo or Libra or Aries placements. There's certain things to that the opposition of Libra and Aries, so maybe it's this Mars that's happening, or some of you a very specific situation where you're seeing the light in something that maybe has happened with a Libra in the past, or from Libra season, leftover residue from that time, where you're really seeing some things about how desire, need for control, these are cardinal signs that are showing up very prominently at the end, and Virgo being one mutable, but at the same time, just the representation of these cards is about being fair to yourself first and foremost. Like, Sagittarius season is going to dish it out, of course, and maybe there's a Virgo in your life that will also dish it out, but it's more so about being fair with yourself. You have so much happening, and if you don't give that small time to yourself, and not looking at it like you get the leftover crumbs, like actually saying, like, I need this in my day for what is happening in my life. This is what is going to take to balance everything else going on. And it's really important for you to get comfortable with that. Because if you're going to do, and if you're set out to make a structure or, carve these new ideals, it's about being and having your voice known, heard, of course. But also when you're learning this about yourself, being fair to yourself. It may sound a lot harsher than it actually is. And of course your love can handle it. And it's important that you not, especially if there's a boss or an over demanding figure in your life, it's going to become very clear, like the power dynamic's going to switch based off of how you handle this month. If there is a power dynamic there. The Taurus partial eclipse was very revealing to you about the steps that you need to be moving forward, and remember that your voice is very powerful this month. So this is the first part of the reading. There's so much clarity here, and Sagittarius season's really coming out with it. So just don't give yourself the crumbs. Remember, that's I know it's going to get annoying, but it's just what is needed. Regardless of whoever says what, especially anyone who's trying to put you in the middle of something. No. Because if you put a Leo in the middle of something, they'll show you what it is, and you'll be mad that you asked and you made them become the person that you're like, yo, I want to be this person though, but you're making me be this person right now, and here it is. It's Sagittarius season, here it is, and now you're mad. So you think about yourself in these situations, okay? Because it's going to be a fun month if you be your Leo self. And I'll show you the cards after. So the second part, we'll look at the cards. All information to work with me is below. Oof. I'm glad I did this one. And I'll see you next month, Leo. I love you. Hi, Leo. Lots of cards. So mainly this is about, so there's travel. Some of you may travel short distance or want to be planning a trip. it's just important that you're not rushing into this. And for some of you, that is like just, it's also about, excuse me, ooh, marriage, um, family. This is also about the vulnerability, the difference of the feeling and the security that you're feeling. I did the first part of this reading a couple of days ago, so I don't so this may sound a little different. The more that you use this vital energy that you're coming into the season with, so probably already in the past week since Sag season started, the more that you get done, the more content you feel in terms of taking care of the way that you feel, maybe planning a trip, or being if you're in a relationship, being very secure in this position that you're in every way. You feel both the fear and the security of it, the vulnerability and the security and the contentness in it, and that I want to do this, I'm ready to do this, I'm ready to go for this. There's so many things like that Sagittarius season is bringing to you, and it causes you to reevaluate that traditional structure, that part of you that maybe didn't know if you want it or whatever, want it. If you're not a Leo who wants that traditional way of life, you're also thinking about how you want to develop traditions in your life, and that may include travel, that may include doing that with your family or with just you and whoever you're with in your house. And you're starting to really look, and that's also in terms of like how you want to venture into the new year. You're already thinking about it possibly, and there's a lot to be talked about. And it's not like, it doesn't sound bad, but there might be some miscommunications along the way if you're not being very clear and direct about what you want. And if you don't know, that's fine too. I think there's someone in your life that feels maybe like you're not giving them enough attention. So it might be possible that, or there's this part of you that may feel like you're not even maybe it's a mutual feeling, honestly. 9 of Pentacles, 9 of Swords, and the Justice card, and the Hermit, and the Emperor right at the bottom. Then the 6 of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck. Every month, it's so funny because I find themes throughout the readings, and this month it's like the beginning starts off rather slow and getting our focus together. And for fire signs, it really hasn't been hard because you're used to this, and mutable signs is not as hard either, but not everyone's used to all the fixed nature, and then just like whew, coming into this season. For you, it's like exhilarating, like you love it, you're feeling it, you're with it. And by the end of the month, there's going to be this moment where you may have this realization, Leo, that the 9 of Pentacles, 9 of Swords, Justice, you realize what keeps you on both of those ends. Like you realize that there's such a definitive line between you feeling like the 9 of Pentacles and then the 9 of Swords. That this line has to do with not giving yourself enough room, but also it's just this self-awareness. You're just like, oh, I shift between these two sometimes. And there's been a lot of 9 of Swords in the past few months because there's been a lot of a different kind of growth that you may have dabbled into, like the spiritual growth. And not that Leos are not spiritual, but you need to be for what you're continuing to do right now. There's that part of your life is actually extremely important. And so no matter what that looks like to you. But the insight and like the really clear thing that you see through this about yourself, it just becomes really clear. It's like pretty upfront. It's like, Justice, Hermit, the Emperor. It's like very upfront and it's very healing. It's also something that whether or not you've realized that you've been wondering since Libra season. And then this Libra Aries axis here we have, and then the Mars transit into Sagittarius on the 13th is probably going to give you even more energy to speak clearly into the universe of like what you're wanting. But this eclipse coming, the eclipse season coming up, already makes those shifts anyway. So what is important by the end of the month is that you recognize that whatever the awareness that you gain about yourself, and that about the Nine of Pentacles, Nine of Swords, is also about you really harnessing that. There's so much power by the end of the season that you're able to, and if you, some of you want to do charity work or, you know, volunteer your time or do something like that, it could really be beneficial in terms of even money. You might see a really positive dividend from that. Not that you're looking for it, but it just comes in very magical ways. This month is probably one of the most magical months in my opinion. And so what's important to recognize is that what you see is very clear, but it's charged by this fire, this Mars, these, by all of what's happening with all of the transits, the eclipses. It's powerful. So for those of you who don't have that practice to hold that energy and use this energy wisely, so it's like these three, the first four cards, like kind of all in one, you know, Justice, Hermit, Emperor. And also you're surrounded by people this month. Probably by the end of the month, there will be people in your life who may feel like they can just say shit to you. I'm laughing because don't let it get in your head. Let people have their opinions if you feel, and then also ask yourself why are people having these opinions with you? Well, we know there's Venus and Capricorn and right around Christmas. So just be wary of who you want to be around and how you want to feel, but also know that if you want to be around people and you're feeling, depending on how you're feeling, it will probably influence what is going on, because there might be a few like overbearing people in your life by the end of the month who show up. So there's that. If you have strong Libra in your chart, this could be very much a Libra thing where it influences this part of you. But it also is like Libras are going through, you know, what they always go through, but they're going through a great time of transformation. So it's possible that you're also feeling that, and you've been feeling it for like months now. If there is a Virgo in your life, it's possible that they have observed, and they have also some things to say. Maybe you have Virgo and Mars. I know that's very helpful to the healing that needs to go on in the end of the month, the conversations that might need to be had. If there's an Aries in your life, that person is also wanting to say things to you, and you can have a very productive conversation or something happening with these three people. Just know that they are also in a certain energy, so it's just a lot of up and like just a lot of external energy this month. So at the end of the month, you're going to find out also when you're around certain people how you feel. That's a big awareness. It's important to notice that. Is it you? Is it them? Ask yourself, why does it only happen around them? You know, it's when we've been talking about this for months since the last eclipse season, how like what kind of relationships you want, what you want your life to look like, you know. And now you're coming to that point again where you're realizing and recognizing maybe what still needs to be let go of, whether it's internally or an actual situation. All right, Leo? Just give the situation what it needs, but don't give it more, you know? Unnecessary. All right. Happy holidays, and I will see you next month, Leo. Oh, all information to work with me is below. All right.